In the next moment you are about to explore a version of the DC universe where the Flash never slows down, never looks back, never stops to ask if he should. Because this video reveals what happens when speed becomes obsession, when time is no longer a tool but a victim, and when one hero's refusal to stop running creates the darkest timeline DC has ever imagined. So stay until the very end, because the final consequence of this endless run is disturbing, ironic, and strangely hilarious in the most uncomfortable way possible. Barry Allen is famous for being the fastest man alive, but what truly defines him is not speed. It is guilt, curiosity, and the dangerous belief that every mistake can be fixed if you just move faster. And that belief is exactly where everything goes wrong. Because in this timeline, the Flash never learns the lesson, never accepts loss, and never stops running, turning the Speed Force from a gift into an unstoppable engine of chaos. At first, nothing feels broken because Flash runs through time doing what he always does, fixing small tragedies, nudging events, saving lives. A second too late in other timelines, but perfectly on time in this one, and the universe seems to reward him. Reality stays stable, people smile, history looks cleaner, and Barry starts to believe that maybe the rules were exaggerated, maybe time actually likes being edited. This is where the story becomes strangely funny, because the Flash starts treating time like an app with unlimited undo buttons, correcting awkward moments, preventing embarrassing failures, and accidentally creating a reality where nothing ever feels earned because struggle disappears, consequences fade, and heroism slowly turns into maintenance work for a universe that no longer knows how to suffer properly. But time is patient, and the Speed Force is not a passive highway, it is a living system that notices patterns. And in this darkest timeline, it notices one thing very clearly. The Flash never stops, meaning the universe never stabilizes, and when stability disappears, reality begins to wobble in subtle, unsettling ways. Days start repeating with variations, memories feel inconsistent, heroes experience déjà vu without understanding why, and villains begin winning battles they were never meant to fight. Not because they are stronger, but because cause and effect are losing synchronization, creating moments that are amusing on the surface and deeply terrifying underneath. As Flash keeps running, the multiverse does something unprecedented. It stops branching, because branching requires choice, and choice requires pause. And in a universe where the Flash never stops, time never pauses long enough to create new possibilities, causing reality to stretch into a single, unstable timeline, overloaded with contradictions. This is the moment when things turn dark, because the Flash is no longer reacting to disasters, he is causing them, simply by existing at infinite speed, and every step he takes erases potential futures before they can even form, turning hope itself into collateral damage. The Speed Force begins leaking not as energy but as errors, glitches in reality. Where physics forgets its own rules, cities flicker between versions. People age backwards for seconds, gravity hesitates, and history becomes unreliable, creating a universe that feels like it is buffering endlessly without ever loading correctly. What makes this timeline so disturbing is that Barry notices something is wrong, but he refuses to stop, because stopping would mean admitting that all the good he thinks he has done might be an illusion. And that fear keeps him running faster, creating a vicious cycle where speed feeds denial, and denial feeds speed. Heroes try to intervene, but in a universe where time is constantly being overwritten, intervention becomes meaningless, because every attempt to stop Flash creates another version of the timeline that is immediately erased by his next run, turning even the greatest heroes into footnotes that never fully exist. Eventually, the Speed Force stops being a place and becomes a prison, trapping Flash in a perpetual present where past and future collapse into a single blurred moment. And this is where the irony becomes brutal, because the fastest man alive becomes the most stuck being in existence, unable to slow down without destroying himself. The darkest twist of this timeline is not the destruction of worlds or the collapse of history, but the emotional emptiness that follows. Because without consequences, life loses texture, victories feel hollow, losses feel temporary, and existence becomes flat, turning the universe into a perfectly safe but completely meaningless loop. Time itself begins to fight back, not with explosions or cosmic battles, but with silence, erasing emotional weight, draining purpose, and reducing the universe to a functional but soulless machine, where nothing truly matters because everything can be undone, except the one thing Flash refuses to do, which is stop. In this final stage, the Flash realizes the horrifying truth, that the universe does not need him to run forever, it needs him to stop, and that heroism was never about fixing every mistake, but about choosing which mistakes must be lived with, and that realization hits harder than any villain ever could. The darkest timeline does not end with Flash saving the day or resetting reality, it ends with a fragile balance. Where time survives in a damaged state, the multiverse remains compressed, and the Flash becomes a myth, a warning whispered by the Speed Force itself about the danger of infinite control. What makes this story so intriguing and strangely funny is how relatable it is. Because at its core, it is about someone who cannot stop replaying the past, convinced that one more try will fix everything, and accidentally destroying the present by refusing to let time move forward. This is why this version of the DC Universe stands as one of the most unsettling timelines ever imagined, because it proves that the greatest threat to reality is not evil, chaos, or destruction, but the refusal to accept that some moments are final. If you enjoyed this journey into DC's darkest timeline and the terrifying idea of a Flash who never stopped running, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment with your theory about whether Flash should ever use time travel again, and share this video with other DC fans who love funny, curious, and mind-bending superhero stories.